with all due respect, speaking of mental diarrhea and data bin, we'd like to talk about the education system. And sorry. So, as students, at this point, I know this has been through ages, and like all students feel a certain way about the education system, but there's a certain amount of anxiety that exists within us because we learn great things here. Okay,
It's good for your future practice if everybody's anxious.
That's there. That's there. Psychology helps.
Yes.
So we feel trapped because all the learning that we do here is beautiful. Like we sit, we attend classes, and it's really nice. But the concept of one standardized way of evaluating all students is something that seems really unfair in a certain way, and it sort of pulls us down because not everybody learns a certain way, not everybody has to be evaluated a certain way, but the system should work. So there's not this one solution to it. You just can't go, okay, you do this and then everything is fine. The students are happy and the teachers are happy. There's no one direct way to it. So how do you sort of approach this system that is trapping the creative minds of young, nice, sweet students?
That's sweet you added to describe yourself. See, right now I'm involved in writing an education policy for the country. We are working on it. It may take another year and a half before we really come up with this. Because I live my life out of my experience. And my experience of education was just ridiculous. The sisters… No, I'm acknowledging them because I am also a Carmelite. One year, on my second standard, I was in the Christ the King convent, and in my seventh standard, I was in my Nirmala convent. No school would keep me for more than 1 year. Because I never understood, why the hell am I going to the school? Nobody explained to me. It's very… please, whatever I say, please, I want you to listen to this carefully because it could be misunderstood completely. Because when I was 4.5 years of age, one thing struck me, that suddenly I did not know anything. I do not know anything means I do not know anything at all. If somebody gives me a glass of water, I do not know what is water. Well, I know I can drink it, I can use it, I know how to use it, but I don't know what it is. So I keep staring at the water for hours on end. Well, actually the fact is, even today you don't know what is water, if you really look at it. We know how to use it, we know how to destroy it, but we don't know what it is really. With all this scientific exploration, we do not know one single atom in its entirety. We know how to break it, fuse it, make a bomb out of it, all these things we know, but we don't know what it is. So if I found a blade of grass, I'm just staring at it for hours. If I sit up in the night in the bed, I'm simply staring in the darkness. My dear father, being a physician, started thinking that I need psychiatric evaluation. You're just too late. My problem was, I look at this and I don't know what this is. They're asking me to look at that. I just cannot shift my attention, I'm just looking at this. In this condition, they sent me to school. My mother said, don't look here and there, pay attention to the teacher. I went and looked at the teacher. Absolute attention to the teacher, the kind of attention they'd never received in their life. Many things happened in this, I don't want to go into the detail. When about 9 years ago, this school where I studied for a couple of years, That's the only school where I stayed for 2 years. So they came to invite me for their 125th anniversary. I said, see, why me? I was not just a not good student, I was not even a student. Because I didn't have a textbook, I didn't have a notebook, I just went. I just had a bicycle. I thought it was good enough. So, I said, why me? Please, I am not a good example for the students. They said, no, our school has produced union ministers, our school has produced cricketing stars, film stars, you are the only mystic, you have to come. So I went. So I went and sat there in the quadrangle, the same oppressive buildings. And no, this is my experience, I'm saying. And suddenly I looked at this particular classroom and I remembered, I was 12 years of age. One afternoon, these are times when I don't speak for many days, because when you don't know anything what to say. I'm still trying to drink in the creation around me, I'm paying attention to the leaf, to the… everything. Man, woman, child, animal, plant, anything. I'm just paying attention to everything, I still not figured out a thing. So there's nothing much to say, so I don't speak. So at one point, my father put me through speech and hearing test, thinking I cannot speak. This is the problem of a physician. Then that afternoon, the teacher is trying to get some response from me. After about 35–40 minutes, I'm just looking at him. I don't even hear what he's saying. I know this man's past, present and future. But I don't hear the question. After 35–40 minutes, he got so frustrated and angry with me. He came and held me by the shoulder, shook me like this violently and said, you must either be the divine or the devil. I think you're the latter. I didn't feel insulted or abused, I just thought about this. Because till then, I did not know what is this, what is this, what is that, what is that. Everything is a question mark, the entire universe. But I knew one thing, this is me. This guy confused me about that also. I just looked like this. Is this divine, is this devil? What the hell is this? I tried to stare, it didn't work, then I started closing my eyes and sitting. This is how my journey started, because I am trying to figure out what the hell is this, because till now I had one assurance, this is me. Suddenly he confused me about this also. Why I'm telling you this is, see, we have set up education factories to feed for other factories, larger factories. You must all understand, day in and day out when everybody talks economy, 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 you must understand you are just raw material. You're not human beings. That's where we are driving the world, entire world. When economy is the most important thing, this is how you will run the education. There is no time for any tenderness, there is no time for any nurturing, there is no time for anything, because everybody has to pass at a certain age and get into the job and make money, and then in the end, I don't know what, they'll relax in the end when they're 75. So this has to change, but for this to change, we have been in 15–20 generations of poverty in this country. Your parents have relaxed a little bit. My time, our parents were so hyper about how will you earn a living, how will you earn a living. I said, why are you bothered about how do I earn a living? Tell me when you don't want to feed me, I'll just go somewhere. I'm capable of getting my food. And I have no problem of wanting to live like somebody else. I'm not bothered what somebody else has. I know I will never go hungry, I will find my food somehow. I went into the jungle and stayed for 3 weeks by myself, and I managed to survive off the jungle. So I knew if nothing works, I'll go into Western Ghats. So why I'm saying this is, we become too overly concerned about survival process. For the society to relax a little bit, I think economic development is needed. See, these two things are like this. If economic development is much more and there is ease, that if you… let's say you don't pass your examination, you won't fall on the street and get lost. If that assurance is there, everybody will relax a little bit, feet off the throttle a little bit will happen. So right now we created three different dimensions of education. One form of education is just for rural India, because for them it's economic. For them to get out of that economic and social pit in which they are, a certain type of education. Another form of education for those parents who are reasonably affluent, who want their children to be exposed to a variety of things. Here at least 50% of the time is dedicated to art, music, theatre, like this, and the school is created like a museum, almost. So children live here in a completely different way. And we have another school which you saw the girls dancing. From the age of 6 to 18, there is no academics for them. They learn only classical dance, classical music, Kalaripaitu, which is the mother of all martial arts, yoga, Sanskrit language and English language. This is all they learn. They don't go to any academic stuff. They go through 12 to 15 years of very severe training. You saw the girls dancing, but you don't know their fitness. If you ask them to just climb up here, they will just find their way up. They're like that. Physically, the main focus is to grow the body and the brain to its fullest without any intent. See, the problem is at the age of 3, people like to hear their sweet little girls say, "What will you become?" "I'll become doctor." At the age of 3. So from the age of 3, you're wishing a lot of people will be sick in the world. I'm saying it's a completely wrong way of nurturing. Raising children or bringing up human beings is like raising a garden. It's not a factory. In one extruder, everybody goes, but that's not going to change in a hurry. So you need to learn how to make the factory feel like a garden a little bit, because in your time, it's not going to change. By the time you get out of education, it will… if we start the process now and invest heavily, it may change slowly in the next 20, 25 years. That's how it is. Because changing the education system, in thought we can change it, on paper we can change it. Putting it down there, training the necessary people, creating the infrastructure, this is not going to happen. And also we need to reduce our population a little bit. Otherwise it's very difficult to provide good education for everybody.